Hello again. The local index is weaker today, along with its global peers, on renewed worries about a gloomy economic outlook. Michael Treherne, portfolio manager at Vestact, is joining us to talk through the latest numbers. Hi there, Michael. Welcome. Give us a sense of how we are doing today from opening of markets. Have they reacted at all to the country's electricity problems?
Good afternoon, Tembekile. JSE All-Share currently down 1.22%. So that's following general global weakness that we're seeing in markets. Overall, though, looking at more locally focused companies, we have seen some weakness, particularly in our miners and our retailers that are very heavily impacted by heavy load shedding. But in general, it's hard to distinguish between global weakness and local weakness at the moment.
It's been interesting to see Iran and Argentina launching applications to join the BRICs group of countries. Does it mean that it's basically now a reconfiguration of global economic power?
I'd say for the existing members of BRICS, having more nations be part of the group is a good thing. It's probably worth pointing out that both Iran and Argentina are still relatively small international global players. The economic wealth and might still sits with G7 countries that are also meeting at the moment. The BRICS are quite far behind that. But the more friends you have, the better, and the better for international trade.
Speaking of international, the Tshas Group has announced plans to expand internationally. Is that a wise move at this point?
Yeah, so the group, obviously the Tshas restaurants, they've already been in the UAE for quite a few years. They'll be now expanding more into the Middle East, and they're going to have a foray into the UK for the first time. They're going to be opening a restaurant in London. Historically, South African restaurants have struggled to get a foothold in the UK market, and many have burnt their fingers trying to do it. So I wish them luck, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. They have expanded successfully into the Middle East already. So I suspect they're going to be using a similar playbook to get this right.
Let's talk about the other news that broke earlier this morning. South Africa's consumer confidence, which plunged to its lowest level over 3 decades. That was in the second quarter of this year, 2022. 2022, yes. Talk us through the data itself and what it tells us about consumer sentiment, as well as the next index reading when all factors, including fuel increases, outages, electricity, of course, and interest rate increases are concerned.
Yes, I think it reflects general global consumer weakness. The war in Ukraine hasn't been great for global asset prices. Locally, we're struggling with our own issues. It's worth pointing out that there was one reading that was worse, and that was at the height of COVID, but we're not very far away from that. But probably more interesting is that those middle income and higher income individuals are feeling more downbeat than low income individuals. And a low income individual is someone earning less than 2,500 Rand a month. So it points to where your different pain points are, and like you say, higher interest rates, lower asset prices generally affect the wealthier more than low income individuals. But the trend is bad, and when consumers don't have confidence, it's generally bad for consumer spending and general economic growth.
Michael Treherne, good to have your time. Thank you.